Oh.
Yes, so I just checked it, and I could hear the music on the recording because there's some individuals who have hit me up about getting some music from them for the podcast, so I can put that
Sweet.
and all of that other stuff.
What's going on with that hat, bro?
Man, this is my head warmer,
Oh, okay.
and
It's a nice hat.
I'm bald headed. So
Mm-hmm. That's it.
happens to be
The top of that hat, the top of that hat look like
look
them
like
ski
them niggas from Cool Runnings or some shit.
No, that piece of that top part of that hat look like the chicks that be having those ski ponytails. You know what I'm talking about, David.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about. Chicks that have that short hair and they brush their hair up to the top. They got that big head and that small ponytail.
Oh, that's not nice.
That is accurate.
That's not nice, man. Quit bullshit so we could get started, God damn it. And welcome
What?
to Mystery Science Theater. I am your host, King David, and I am here with Rebecca Quarles.
With this ski ponytail.
Today, Rebecca.
I am here to save my people.
You are here to save your people. Is that what you're doing?
I'm good, man. Got some tea going. Got a little congestion situation, but it's all good, man. Thanks. Then I pull out the dolo. I'm 5150 side of the game. Shout out to 5150.
Yeah.
Love ya.
What was that, nigga? I fucking love that nigga Bolo, man. Hell. Yes, nigga. This is the 4th episode of the Socially Conscious St. Louis podcast. I am your host, King David. I am in here with Rebecca Quarles again. And we gonna have some heater today, my niggas. We got some heaters today. Got my drink in here on the get outside of the game. I got my drink and my spoon just in case niggas decide to get early. It's in the second place. I'm roasting trying to fall out the second place like got a permanent residence in that motherfucker.
We can't say it.
She got a permanent place. She bought beachfront property in the sunken place.
Oh yeah, man.
And then her ass got fired.
Yes, sir.
I'm not gonna be petty like Angela Rye, my nigga. I'm not gonna do that. But sucks for you.
Or Robin told her on Good Morning America, told him, yes, she will have a story, and I'm sure it will be for sale. And then somebody else was like, yes, yes. And then Robin was like, yeah, she's going to sell it. Bye, Felicia.
Man, ain't nobody dealing with her ass.
Omarosa. Yeah, man. They been roasting her online. It was the dopest thing ever.
Right. Well, why don't you go in on that while I go live on Facebook? Since
All right,
we
then.
can't go live and then do the shit and whatever,
So this this young brother, by React Verse, he did a video on YouTube talking about the different reactions with different celebrities of Omarosa getting fired. Basically, it was reported that Omarosa got fired. They didn't give she tried to say she didn't get fired. She said she resigned. She said her and I think it was the general sat down and had a conversation in the quiet room. I forgot his name. I want to make sure I get these details right because all I had up was the video. But basically, they sat down. He had been wanting to fire her, but Donald Trump was protecting her. They said that the reason why she got fired was because of her attitude. She wasn't very professional at all. She had a really nasty attitude, real nasty disposition, and she was walking around the White House like she owned the place.
Real
So,
ahead, mammy.
so basically, she said that she did an interview with Michael Strahan, saying that she's going to tell her story and that she's seen a lot of things, and there are a lot of things that was done in front of her that made her feel uncomfortable, that she didn't necessarily like, towards her and her people. And I guess we are her people now. But when Donald Trump was running the race, he said that
who people? Who people? We people. Who is we?
she
Ain't no we, my nigga. That's you. You the one that was laying up under Donald Trump, sucking dick and fucking for your little position. And now you want to talk about some we or my people. Bitch, you ain't got no people. You sold us out for a white man's penis and paycheck. That's what you sold us out to do. Ain't no
John Kelly. That's his name.
huh?
John Kelly. John Kelly.
John Kelly,
He
who's
had
that?
he's been wanting to fire Omarosa for the longest. And Donald Trump was general. He's a general. Well, he was a general. Well, he technically he's a retired general, and now he works at the White House. And I think he's the chief of staff at the White House. And he had been wanting to fire Omarosa for the longest. And basically, the last straw was when, for whatever reason, Omarosa is not a lot of people who had access to Donald Trump's quarters, but she did, right? And the last straw was when she got of her being fired was she had her I think she had her wedding at the White House, and she had herself and her bridal party, which consisted of about 40 people, taking pictures in the White House Rose Garden. Right. And she was escort. The Secret Service shut it down real quick. She was able to get some pictures, but the Secret Service informed her that she could not post those due to security risk because she did not get permission to do it before she went to go take pictures in the Rose Garden. That was the last straw. On top of, she became upset with John Kelly when they told her that her husband was no longer allowed to any of the balls and any type of, events and stuff like that they have at the White House. The security risk. They took the security clearance off of him. So he was no longer allowed there. They didn't say why they removed the security clearance. They just said they did. Her and John Kelly got into an argument from what was reported from one of the White House staff. She was drastically dragged out from throwing a tantrum. And she says that she wasn't dragged out, that her and John Kelly, that Trump is allowing her, right, to say she did not get fired, that she was resigned. Also, John Kelly since he had been wanting to fire her for the longest, he wanted her to quit right then and there. But Trump said, no, let her stay until January the 20th so she could at least have a year worth of work on her resume for working at the White House. So she got upset. She quit. She left. She said, no, I'm not going to do that. And now she's going on all these press releases saying, oh, a lot of things that was done and my people this and my people that. And I've done a lot for my people and the black community and this and that. And I was like, yeah.
All my life, I has to fight. I has to fight my brothers. I has to fight my uncles. They're cussing Donald Trump out. Until you do right by me, master, everything you think about is gonna crumble.
And then I mean, legit, like the way that she did it was Trump really didn't want to fire her. They said the only reason why she was able to survive the White House is because Donald Trump protected her. He made up a position, gave it to her, and let her work. Now, when John Kelly decided to say, Omarosa, we want you out, she wanted to speak to Donald Trump immediately because the first thing she asked was, does Trump know you're doing this?
Of course.
Who gave the order? You can't, he told her, you can't fire me. I need to speak with Donald.
What's that chick named? Old fake ass Olivia Pope.
She tried to go see Trump to let Trump know what happened and to talk to him about it. And the Secret Service blocked that too.
They stiff arm that hoe. Stiff arm.
But nigga, you are no use to us. You got to go. You are no longer no use to us. Who is this nigga think she in the White House like she running something? You done cooned all that time and all those interviews she did. She was, I don't care what nobody say. Her and Donald Trump been sleeping together for the longest. It would not shock me if in a few years Omarosa was divorced from her husband. That would not shock me because I personally believe she was with this man at first. You know that movie Tyler Perry did, A Family That Prays, when Sanaa Lathan was sleeping with the white man and had a black husband at home?
Nope.
That's how I feel like Omarosa is. When Tyler Perry did this movie called The Family Prays, great movie with Kathy Bates in it, and Sanaa Lathan was married.
Talking about Kathy Bates, the white woman Kathy Bates?
Yes, I love Kathy Bates. Yes,
okay.
Kathy Bates.
All right, that's what's up. Shout out to Kathy Bates. I love you, fried green tomatoes.
You ignorant.
Yes, nigga, I love fried green tomatoes, nigga. I went to Walmart and they was like, hey, $5. I was like, shit, well, let me get that one.
It was a good movie. It was a good movie.
So you mean to tell me that Ponderosa is a
mimosa
witch?
That is no shock to nobody. But now, after you just sat there and cold and tap danced and booked and what did your jazz hands and all that,
Mr.
Trump said it is what it is. Okay, for real.
Just
and I don't care what nobody.
You have access to his quarters. That sounds like some slave shit, don't it? I summon you, bitch, to my quarters. You in my quarters. I
had to try not to choke on this tea.
When you gonna
I think they together.
When you gonna learn that Coonan is not gonna save you? Coonan is not gonna save you. Never has saved you. Never will save you. And the day it does save you, I am going to get out here in blackface and sing like them goddamn crows on Dumbo. Now I done about everything that I see an elephant fly. That's exactly what the fuck I'm going to do the day that Coonan is going to save you. And that day's never going to come, so you're never going to see me dressed in no more blackface than the skin that I was blessed with.
I know. That's correct. You stupid. I'm just so done.
Just like Rolland Martin, Rolly the Boule Bird Martin.
Yeah, I don't give a damn about Omarosa getting fired. And that's what he said. He done got fired too.
Again, we knew that you to get fired. Bruh.
Now,
and then what kills me, because I was watching this interview that Rock Newman did. Shout out to Rock Newman. Just hate the fact that this nigga was on Rock Newman. And don't get me wrong. Rolly the Boule Bird Martin knows his stuff. He knows his information. I will give it to the brother. He knows his statistics. He's a great journalist. But motherfucking coon, dog. You was doing all that cooning and buck dancing for Hillary Clinton, and then you knew that was your last stand. That was Custard's last stand, my nigga. That was your last stand to make something of yourself. To try to salvage your coon career. And it didn't work. Do I feel sorry for you? No. I just hate the fact that he was on Rock Newman. Well, you know, black people, all this, and you know what we have been trying to do, and blah, 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 blah. Like, okay, a lot of the information that he was saying was factual, but, brother, you haven't been exactly on the front lines It's no secret that he is Boule. That's why Tyreek flamed the shit out of his ass, calling Rolly the Boule bird. We know that he is Boule, bruh. We know that you are one of the rich black people who white people
They come to you and say, hey, I need $100. Can you please donate for this? After you have given them the money, it is not your job to wonder what they did with the money because you've already given it away. Yes, you would not want people to squander it, but after I give it to you, it's yours. What you do with it is your business. And that's how I feel about it. Of course, you want to hope that the person does what they say they will do. And maybe they will. But from what I understand, it's a lot of stuff that goes into just opening the school. Like, it takes more than just money. It takes more than just money to build the school. Like, you have to make sure that you have enough funds set aside to be able to build the school, to be able to hire teachers. Some people going to be on salary, hourly wages, janitors, school programs, supplies, desks. Like, you need all of this stuff, and you also have to buy the land, too. Like, how much money has he gotten for the school so far? Because I'm pretty sure it's not enough to do all of that.
He's gotten about $500,000, but
that's nowhere near enough money.
I will say that, and I'm trying to say this as best as possible. I'm really not trying to blow the lid off of the situation. However, I think that there is a number he's throwing out for the public, and I think there's a different number that he has behind closed doors. That's what I think. That's what I think. I don't know for sure, but he seems too intelligent a man to think that he's getting $500,000 just for school. I think there's some other stuff percolating behind the scenes. I really do. And I'm not going to try to blow the lid off the brother, because if he does it, he does it. If he does it, he does it. If he don't, he don't. But give the man a chance to fail before you say anything. Again, I've seen smoke, but I've never seen fire. I have never seen any receipts to say that he was not about his business or he was not doing what he said he was going to do. I haven't seen it. You hating on the man for no reason.
When people put so much energy and wasted time into like being angry and hating on somebody, like, we got other stuff that we could be doing in our community. That energy and time can be put somewhere else. There's nothing wrong with exposing the truth. But if you're going to expose something, don't expose something to be negative about it. Expose something that's going to reveal actual truth and come with receipts. Where are your facts to back this up? Because everything is opinion. You just have a whole bunch of pointless questions with no facts.
But again, if we're doing what we're supposed to be doing instead of worrying about what the fuck everybody else is doing, maybe, just maybe, the community of black Americans would get somewhere. You too busy worrying about what everybody else is doing. Quit worrying about what everybody else is doing. I support the man 150%. And until he proves otherwise, that he is not who he says he is, I will stand behind him with confidence. I am not in any of his organizations. He's not paying me, but based off of what I've seen, I haven't seen any wrongdoing. It ain't no different than Lavar Ball. People hate on Lavar Ball so bad. So bad. Because he's doing something that you don't like or you don't understand. And it's more whites hating on Lavar Ball than it is blacks. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of us out here hating too. oh, them shoes cost too much, or oh, Lonzo can't ball, and he can't do this, no pun intended, can't ball, no pun intended, and he signed his two sons up to go play ball in Lithuania, and
Yeah.
afford to practice, and all this bullshit. Again, get you some business. Now, I think the man is very smart. His oldest son has his own shoe. He's in the NBA. Is he the greatest NBA player? No, he is not. Maybe it's going to take some time for him to come in his own and get used to playing pro ball. But either way, he's there. It automatically takes a certain level of talent in order to make it into the NBA and be a starter, no less. So it's not a failure. It's not a failure. And he had his own shoe before he came into the league. That was revolutionary. Ain't nobody did that. Ain't nobody ever did that. And it's their own independent company, independent of Adidas, Nike, and Under Armour. Those are the big three. Independent of all them jokers.
You know what makes me upset about people complaining about Lonzo Ball? I love Lonzo. It's LeVar Ball. I'm sorry. Thinking about the other son. I love LeVar Ball. I love the way that he leads his family. I love the way that how his wife supports him in leading his family. I seen that interview that he just did on the Breakfast Club, and Charlamagne asked him a real question. This is why I love Charlamagne the God. He asked him a real question. He said, with you being married to a white woman, how are you able to raise your black son with being married to a white woman, because she cannot relate to how it is to raise black boys? And he was like, my wife does not coddle my sons. When they fall and they get hurt, she look, get up, shake it off, keep pushing. He said, when it comes to me raising my boys, she does not step in the way. She let me do my thing, because I have to understand that she understands that they are their dad's children. Regardless of if their mom is white, at the end of the day, they will always be looked at as black because their dad is black and because of who I am. I love the way that he leads his family. I love the fact that his family said, you know what, Dad, you know what, husband, you are the head. And at the end of the day, even his kids and his wife have said, things may have gotten rocky, but it always turns out exactly like he said it would in the end. He is a man with a vision and a plan for his family. And the fact that he do things that does not coincide with the system on how they want him to do it, it is unorthodox to them, and it makes them nervous because he's not doing what they want him to do, and they know that him and his family have the option of doing things the way they want to do it. He is not playing into the system because he does not have to. And they don't like the fact that he can say, we don't have to do that because this is how we're going to do it. And it always works. I do think LeVar Ball is arrogant, but I don't have an issue with the man at all. I just don't.
But see, arrogance is a persona. Like, yes, that's how he is to a certain extent, but his arrogance is a persona.
And you have to be like that dealing with what he's dealing with.
Than he is on the inside.
I'm sure of it.
And the thing about it is, nigga, regardless of how he's feeling on the inside, on the outside, you got to go out there and you got to put on a good show. We big baller brand, and we gonna do this, and we gonna do that. It don't matter what the fuck going on behind the scenes, nigga. You got to keep that face. You got to keep that poker face, because if they see one chink in your armor, they gonna try to tear you down. But again, his oldest son's in the NBA. His two other sons, LaMelo, or no, I think it's Jello. I think it's LiAngelo. The middle son,
Mm-hmm.
He went over to China. Him and his little teammates walked into a store and stole some shit. He got busted. They got busted. The stuff was returned. Blah 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 blah. They made a public apology. Let it go. Now, do I think he did the right thing by taking his son out of UCLA? Hell yeah. It don't matter whether he that good or whether he ain't that good, nigga. You gonna let these white folk vilify your son and sit him on the bench the entire year.
It was Leangelo. Leangelo was the one that.
Jello. So they was gonna force him to sit on the bench the entire year and probably
yes, they would.
No minutes. So
yep.
Would I wait for my son to be picked apart by the white supremacists? Or I'm gonna make a move somewhere else. I'm gonna make a move somewhere else. Okay, he pulled a 16-year-old son out of school. They finna go play ball together in Lithuania. They signed a joint contract. A lot of people think that's a bad idea.
I think it's great.
I think it's a great idea. Now, regardless of their situation, we don't know what kind of deal this brother is working behind the scenes. And to be honest with you, if there was ever a place to do some hardcore training, it's in Lithuania. Because, my nigga, that is so far from LA, from Chino Hills, away from the distractions, away from the media. Like, you could straight go there and with a town of 10,000 people, get in there and do some serious training because you don't have all them distractions. I don't know if that's the case. But I would think like, hey, it's just like when you go off to Solitude, Batman will go off to Solitude, or a monk will go up to Solitude and he'll go in this little place and he'll meditate and he'll focus and he'll hone his skills. Or if you seen Ip Man, anytime Ip Man is ready for a fight, he's alone, like banging on the whatever the thing is, the little wood doll with multiple arms. Like he be straight practicing on that, getting ready for a fight. So if he was getting ready for a fight, if he was trying to prepare his sons to play pro ball and eventually be on the Lakers, is that something that I would do? Hell yeah. And
then they said he was indefinitely suspended from playing basketball.
And they would have vilified him because he's LeVar Ball's son. That's it. And then people are like, oh, they only getting like $500 a month. Well, first of all, they already rich.
And they get more than that.
That's kind of irrelevant. And
even see, that's what people piss me off. They don't know the facts. They just saying what everybody else get. All the other players in Lithuania make $500 a month. They are making 10 times more than that. So, I mean, and even if they wasn't making anything, he was like, they don't even care. The boys even said, like, we just want to play. And he wanted them to play together. I don't see nothing wrong with that.
Right. And it's like that because Jello is the weak son out of the bunch.
The
worst basketball player out of the bunch. So his chances of getting into the NBA are probably a lot lower than his older brother and his younger brother. But, again, they still getting paid because in the NCAA, you can't receive no type of funds.
That is correct.
Play pro ball, now you can get a check from the big baller brand company. The only thing LeVar is looking to do is make partnerships, not sign deals. There's a difference. It's like I was telling a dude when I was working at Grand Friday, I was talking to a dude. I was like, Master P did a partnership. Master P sold records out of his trunk for years, all in Vallejo, California, all up down there, all throughout the South, Louisiana. The man was pushing albums out of his trunk, 100,000 strong. Master P came in and said, nigga, I don't need a record deal. Own record label.
Yes, he did.
Distribution deal where I get 80% of what I make and you get 20. That's what Master P did. LeVar Ball doing the same thing because regardless, the Ball sons have a certain percentage of what they get based off of the merch that's sold. So they already getting paid. But you mad because he black and he's trying to build generational wealth. They always mad about that. Always mad. And then people be like, oh, he just can't take criticism and da da da. First of all, us black people have been taking your bullshit criticism for years. For 400 years, my nigga, we have been taking your bullshit ass criticism. And your bullshit ass opinions, nigga. You can keep those with you. We don't need your opinions, nor want them. You keep those. Let the man do what he gonna do. I support that man.
Leave him alone.
100%.
Stop being a hater.
Man, quit being a hater.
And I hate the fact that it's like I hate that when our people see our black men stand up in strength and be able to talk the talk and not only just talk about walking as well as just be outspoken and unapologetic about how he feels, what he thinks about his family, and this and that. It's like we the main ones trying to tear him down. He should be like that. He needs to be grateful that they giving his kids an opportunity.
You need to be grateful that Trump got your kids out of China, which there's no proof that he even did that.
And the crazy thing about it is when the son did the letter, he didn't even mention Trump at first. And then the school came back and told him that he needs to thank President Trump. So he did it because they told him to.
Yeah, basically.
It's some dumb stuff, man. I don't get it.
Man, we are separated, completely separated, and it's the littlest things that separate us.
I agree.
The littlest things. We let religion, politics, sex, money, everything, we let everything divide us. Especially all of these conscious people, all conscious people, all of you Hebrew Israelites, all of you Moore Science Temple brothers, all you Christian, you Buddhists, you Muslims, and everything in between. Y'all need to get off the dumb shit. I'm sorry I got to tell you this, but get off the dumb shit. Who cares? Now, you know we Hebrew Israelites now. Now the Bible say in captivity, Israelites is over here, and and then you got the folk like, oh man, did you hear Kendrick Lamar? Oh, that damn album. Oh, he's a Hebrew Israelite. We Hebrew Israelites. It said it right here. It says it right here. That's the white man gave us. We gonna be Hebrew Israelites. That's gonna save us. We all gotta be Hebrew Israelites. And then you got the Moors. You Moors brothers kill me. Well, you see, brother, you gotta get your Moors Science Temple certificate, brother, and certified. You gotta go down to City Hall and you gotta take that certificate and you gotta take a picture with the judge.
Yeah, man.
And you gotta get your status changed, brother. And it's gonna be all good.
That's them. See all you gotta do is brothers.
Man, I'm telling you now. I'm telling you, brother. Do you know what you are? No, because I've never researched my answer. Well, let me tell you what you are, brother. You are more.
He gonna tell you what you are?
I'll tell you what you are. You are Morris, brother, and I'm telling you, I got my Morris Science Temple certificate. I got my Morris driver's license, and I'm telling you, fill out some paperwork, send it into the U.S. government, go to the judge, and I'd be like, bruh. And then you Christians, we just gonna pray Let Jesus come back one day. Well, I'm here to tell you, my nigga, Jesus ain't gonna come back. Jesus is not coming back. And God's not coming back. You want to know why God's not coming back? Because God never went nowhere. The Creator has his spirit or its spirit inside of you, and it's up to you to do what you need to do for you and your community. And I say that to say this, nigga. Everybody got a solution. We got to change our status, brother. And once we change our status to Moors, brother, then we not going to have no more problems. And I'm telling you, I have went through this. I have been a Moor for the past 17 years. Nigga, no. You not going to change your status to Moor. That's not going to help you. You can't pray the pain away. That's not going to help you. You can't go to the Bible and say that you're a Hebrew Israelite because Kendrick told you you was, and because of some passages that say that there's going to be a time when some folk going to be enslaved by some other folk, even though that book was given to you by a white man, but okay. Nothing matters except for group economics. I'm going to say it real slow for you ignoramuses. Group economics.
Yes, group economics is a definite must.
I don't care what you claim you are. I don't care if you a Ghanaian, a Kenyan, a Ugandan, a Hebrew Israelite, a Moorish brother, a black person. I don't care what you are. I don't care. And neither should you. But we get so wrapped up in all these labels instead of doing what we need to do. And if you've ever listened to Malcolm X, The Ballad of the Bullet, he makes a point to say something to the effect of, when you come to build with the family in the community, leave your religion at home in the closet. Leave it at home. Because at the end, you being a Moor is not going to save you. You going to the Bible and proclaiming you Hebrew Israelites and wearing all these funky ass outfits is not going to save you. Because when they see you, you are a nigga. Again,
all you gotta do, brother.
Let's go back to Tiger Woods. I'm comical Asian. Nigga, you black. They arrested your ass. Arrested your ass. You is a nigga.
With a bucket of chicken and some watermelon and a smile.
I've always wanted to say this. For shizzle.
All right.
Fried rice, hello, fried chicken. You when they arrested you, nigga, they didn't have nothing about no Caucasian on your ID. They said black.
Oh, black. Yeah, probably had it big bold letters.
You know they did. You know they did. Why do we black people feel that we don't need black business or we don't need black people? It's you, and I love nature. I love nature because you can learn a lot from nature. And that's something that our ancestors had a great understanding of, understanding and overstanding of nature. And if you look on them Discovery Channel little documentaries on the Animal Planet, and you see the animals during the dry season, this watering hole, you see all the elephants, the zebras, the lions, and everybody else is meeting around this watering hole. And it's an uneasy tension because everybody knows that they need this water, and this is the only water resource for miles around. But you see the zebras looking out for the zebras. Because still, there's alligators, and well, not alligators, there's crocodiles. Alligators are not native to Africa. There's crocodiles be in the water. But the zebras look out for the other zebras. The elephants look out for the other elephants. Now, hyenas, the lions, and so on and so forth. So why is it that we feel that we don't need to look out for our own best interests? And that's what I mean about group economics. You're going to have to meet at the watering hole. You're going to have to do commerce outside of the black business. You got to do commerce with Asian, white folk, or whoever, because you're not going to turn down no dollars, but you just want money to circulate within the community.
Mm-hmm.
So again,
I agree.
Rebecca, what do you think? Why is it that we feel that we don't need to practice these so-called group economics? We feel that we could just change our status and click our red ruby hills 3 times and go back to Africa. Speak on it.
I think that the reason why some of us don't think that we need group economics is because everybody is so busy like, oh, you need to go get yours. I got mine, you need to go get yours. I think that at some point when they started, I think the breakdown started when they took the black man out the home. To me. Because, back then, everybody used to live with everybody, or everybody lived around each other. Now, everybody's trying to get away from each other. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. But why we use everything to divide us? We use religion, race, politics, everything. Like I say, sister, if you just go down to Muhammad Mosque, number 27, and you and go back to the original sister, everything is all good. Like, why we feel that if we change a status, and don't get me wrong, black and white is a status within the legal language of the law. That's a whole nother conversation we're not even having right now.
Mm-hmm.
But how come we feel that we could just status and
everybody's so big? I don't want to stay with them. I don't want to stay with her. I don't want to do business with her. She get on my nerves. Or I don't want to do business out of her place. Some people, we are so quick to judge. We judge each other worse than other people judge. To me, I feel like we are so judgmental toward each other in a sense. It's almost like, prime example, this is when I didn't know anything about black empowerment nothing. Because unfortunately, I didn't have a parent who taught me anything about being black, why being black is powerful, why I should love the skin I'm in, et cetera, et cetera. So I had this particular situation where a friend of mine who was going to the store, he said, oh, let's stop and get something to eat. And from the outside looking into the place, I was like, I don't know if I want to go in there. That place don't look right. I had automatically judged the place, the food, the culture. I had judged everything before I even walked into the facility. That's that ignorant stuff, right? He was like, man, you tripping? They got some bomb food. This, and that, we need to support our people, blah, blah, blah. All right, cool. So I'm like, well, we here. I might as well go in. Went in, and it was probably some of the best food I've ever had. But because I had judged it from the outside looking in, if I would have kept that, I would have never been able to have that experience. You know what I mean? And I feel like we as black people, that's what we do to each other. We take what we see and think this is just the end, the tell-all about it. We don't take the time to really figure out and get to know what's going on. And nor do we care. Some folks just don't give a damn. They don't care about supporting black business. They don't care about none of that because statistically they say all blacks. I heard this comedian on Facebook say, and this video went viral. She was like, this why I don't like going to, now she's black. She goes, this why I don't like going to black establishment because all black people have terrible customer service. They this, they that. And if I want to get some good service, I'm going to have to go over. This why I go shop with the white people. And I was just like, I can only listen to about 2 minutes of it. And I had to get off the video because I was so frustrated. Like, this is just another dumb chick who is further perpetuating the stereotype and the narrative that of what has been taught to you and what has been taught to your generation. and the generations before them. I don't know, man. We got a lot of work to do in the black community.
It ain't just that, man.
Other things.
Feel like some of us, especially in the so-called conscious community, air quotes, especially in the so-called conscious community, you have read a few books, and now you are the expert on everything that is black and African.
Right.
Not trying to practice group economics. Or you say that you're conscious, and conscious means to be aware. Socially conscious means to be aware of social issues, i.e. the Socially Conscious St. Louis podcast, because me and Rebecca are both from St. Louis. We are aware of social issues, and we are speaking on social issues, but these so-called conscious folk done read a couple books, and I have worked with these people personally. You claim you conscious because you've read these books, but spiritually you haven't accepted the teachings of your ancestors. If you had spiritually accepted the teachings of your ancestors, you would not act the way you act. Because in knowing what your ancestors left for us, and having scholars spend their entire lives in one area of study to bring you several books for you to read, had you truly be conscious, then you would have spiritually accepted the teachings of your ancestors, and you would make a paradigm shift. But instead, I feel like we get a little bit of knowledge and we decide that we're better than some other folks, a lot of other folk, because we get a little bit of knowledge. And I see this in the church. You know, you always been to them. I don't know if you've been to that church where you see that person, that man or that woman walk in with their Bible and their glasses, and they looking real astute. And they know all the answers and all the questions in Bible class, but yet they too good to sit in a pew or sit in a seat and maybe listen to somebody else who has some information for them.
I agree.
So my thing is, you conscious people have traded one religion for another. You've traded Islam for consciousness, or you traded Islam for being more. You traded Christianity to be conscious. And you're not really conscious because you haven't made a paradigm shift. The brother who was my business partner was so-called a conscious brother, but he was also a miseducated brother. He's one of the folk that Dr. Carter G. Woodson warns us about, one of those individuals with them college degrees, all conscious. And that nigga was shadier than a nigga on the street.
Yeah, he was a little scandalous.
He was shady as hell, and he even threatened my life. I ain't gonna put his name out there because that's up old dirt, and I don't need that type of. I don't need that type of thing in my life. But I'm putting it out there to tell you from my personal experience, the ones who are so-called conscious aren't really conscious. You say you conscious. Walk around here, oh, I've read The Destruction of Black Civilization. Oh, I've read the ISIS papers, nigga. Oh, I've read these. Oh, I've read all of Marcus Garvey's theology and teachings, brother. And I've read Alex Haley's Malcolm X twice and once backwards, my nigga. I'm so-called conscious, but you don't act conscious. Again, don't talk about it, be about it. There's a great book by, I believe her name is Nina Sade Walker, or Nina Sade Walker. She's a millennial, called Young Black Fearless. And it's basically like a little short, like 6-7 chapter, thin slice book that basically tells you how to be an activist, how to start activism. And one of her chapters is don't talk about it, be about it. Again, I don't have to talk about what it is that I do. Unity, I don't have to talk about it. I'm not doing this for glorification, and I'm not doing this to get paid, and I'm not doing this to get my face in the paper. Fuck all that. I can give a fuck about a paper and a news camera, bruh. I do this because I care about my neighborhood and I care about the kids. And I've had people who are old friends or old acquaintances from like high school say to me, because I made a status about not voting this election because the lesser of two evils is still evil. And that's a whole nother thing that we're going to get in with Roy Moore and Doug as far as that Alabama stuff. Because I definitely want to get on that and black people voting. But before we go there, my nigga, I made a status about not voting because the lesser of two evils is still evil. Donald is open and honest about his racism. Hillary is more closeted with hers. Not closeted, mind you, more closeted with her views, but both of them are evil, both of them are racist, and both of them are friends. So how is voting for either evil going to benefit us? So I chose to withhold my vote. And there were some black people that got mad at me. I even had a brother stop speaking to me because I said that, and he asked, and I took a deep breath and I sighed because I knew it was coming, because this type of information is radical to us. We don't want to accept this type of information, and everything I'm speaking to you is truths. Dude got mad at me, and I told him, and I'll speak to him. I would speak to him after that. Hey, how you doing, Mike? Like he would turn his head or he would turn his face to the ground, and he a black dude with a natural hairstyle, with like the natural spongy hairstyle. Like you would think based off of how you wear your hair, brother, that you would be more enlightened, but I guess I was wrong. But this
the hairstyle is a thing.
Right. But that was not this situation. This situation, and I mean, she's a good sister. She's a school teacher. I'm not gonna say anything disparaging about her because she comes from a different school of thought. And again, I don't talk about what it is that I do. I very rarely put statuses or photos about the kids, about what I'm doing in my neighborhood. I just so happened to take one photo the other day and I posted it online like, hey, this is what I do it for. I do it for the kids. So every once in a while, you'll get a glimpse of what I do. But I'm not doing this to gain any type of favor from anybody. I'm doing this because it needs to be done. So when I made that status, she was kind of implying like, oh, you part of the problem if you not voting and blah, 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 and how can you say that and you not helping the black community, and I'm a teacher and I work with these kids every day and blah, 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 blah. I said, okay, first of all, pump your brakes. It's time to go to school. First of all, Asians have the lowest voter turnout rate. We already discussed that. Ain't no sense in going back into that bucket. But Asians have the lowest voter turnout rate. They get shit done. Why? Because they know how to pull their money and put it in a brown paper bag, say, here you go, nigga. And I mean by nigga, I mean whoever the fuck they giving their money to. Here you go. This is what we need from you. We need legislators and some laws specifically for Asian people, nigga. We need some funds to come this way, nigga. We need all of this. And if you don't do this, we going to make sure you don't get another dime from us. And we going to make sure that you don't get elected. That's how they do that. That's how white people do it. Everybody but black folk. Everybody but black folk. So that's the first thing I told her. And the second thing is, I have been working in my community for the past 11 years. Since 2006, I've been working in this community. 11 years. Let's put all the facts on the table. I have been working in this community for the past 11 years. I cut the community garden because it needs to be done. I pick up trash around my general vicinity of the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Cut abandoned yards. If it's on the main drag through the neighborhood and it's overgrown, I'll cut it. I help out with the tutoring. I help out with the mentoring. I live in the neighborhood. I have lived in the neighborhood several times, and I moved back in the neighborhood 2 years ago, so I can be close to what I'm doing here.
Yes.
Again, I don't fault her for going at me because, again, you were a sister with a college degree, so I understand. At the time, I hadn't read Miseducation, but I know you don't understand because I don't talk about what I do, and that's what I told her. I said, I've been doing this for the past 11 years. We do tutoring, mentoring, community programs, community parties, all type of stuff. Just because you don't see me fronting for social media does not mean that I'm out here putting in this work.
I agree.
See, everybody wants you to do a selfie. Hey, look at me. Selfie with the kids. Deuces. Smile, kids. No, nigga. Do I look like Sally Struthers to you? For just 10 cents a day. You can
Stupid.
feed these poor, starving Africans. You know, that bitch is pocketing all the money, and
All of it.
Africans are still starving. But that's for another day, nigga. But do I look like Sally Struthers to you, nigga? Do I look like I'm trying to get some paper off of this? And let me tell you, my nigga, there's no money in waking up black people.
Come on.
There's no money in waking up black folk. Even Tyreek will tell you it's no money in waking up black folk. But the only reason why he is so successful with his stuff is because he has a format and he put his own money, his own ideas, financed by him, and he can do it the way he wants to do it. And he knew that he could do a fantastic job. That's why it's the greatest selling African American docuseries ever. It's one of the greatest selling documentaries ever.
Yep.
Overall, there's no money in waking up black people. And for the most part, the black people that you got to wake up are kids. The millennials and the kids. If you can't wake up the millennials and the kids, then we done. The old folk, most of the old folk ain't trying to be woke. They trying to cling to whatever ideals they have because they've been holding on to these ideals for so long. Anything outside of that is unfathomable, like working for yourself. Their thing is, hey, you got to get out here and get a good job and put in 30 years. Well, most of these jobs not even worth a damn to put in 30 years. Especially not the way they shipping all these jobs overseas. And I thought Trump was supposed to be bringing these jobs back to America. Making America great again, my nigga. I thought you was going to bring all these jobs back to America. I just want to know.
And create more jobs, yeah.
You can't tweet me, nigga, but you can hit me on Instagram. Just let me know. What happened to the job supposed to bring it back to America? I want to know.
Okay, see.
Man.
Our job is overseas right now.
Of course it is. And I hate when you call an Indian, Pakistani motherfucker. And it ain't no different than Abu from the Quickie Mart. Ain't no disrespect to Abu, but your accent be so thick, my dude, I can't barely understand you.
How about this? This is how I can speak to that. So when I worked in this other department before I moved to my at-home space, I had this lady call me, and she was frustrated. She said every time she has to call over to do something, that is always somebody who's overseas. And she said, and I can't count how many people I've talked to like that. They say that it's not that we have a issue with people that are overseas. It's the ones that they intentionally hire. Because what some jobs do is they will hire somebody who does have some type of an accent that you can barely understand, and they can speak enough English to get the job done. not enough to do anything else but get the job done. But in them getting the job done, they are swindling some of these people and persuading them to buy and purchase and upgrade stuff that they don't necessarily need. And the problem is that the people don't even know that that's what they purchasing until they receive a bill in the mail, because they don't understand what the other person is saying because there's a language barrier. So that's typically how it goes. And it's sad, but it's true.
And look, I get it, you know, because I just hate talking to somebody on the phone and I got to ask you what the hell you said about 5 times.
It's so annoying.
Hello, thank you for calling. This thing, I may help you. What is your account number? Huh? What is your account number? What was that, my nigga? I said, what is your account number? And then they got to repeat it back to you. Your account number is 352-789-967. Yeah, nigga, that's what it was.
It's annoying.
I just can't understand you because your accent is so thick, and I know a lot of
most on purpose to get up.
Their facilities are deplorable. I have seen like a lot of these Indian cats be working in these condemned buildings that be ready to fall over, in these little sweatshops and these little call centers and stuff. I feel for you. I know a lot of these Indian cats gotta be cut their arms off and sell their organs and stuff for money, or sell their kids' organs because they can't. I get it. I feel for them, but that's a whole nother country, a whole nother situation. That's something we can't do about that. But again, if you are calling somebody, I would rather speak to somebody who has an American accent than an Indian one, because them East Indian accents are just so thick. So motherfucking thick that you can't hardly understand them. Welcome to the Quickie Mark. I am my bull. I'm man.
Eddie.
Man, you know it. Voting situation. You know, all the black people in Alabama came out and voted against Roy Moore, a known white supremacist or suspected white supremacist, child molester, rapist. And then they voted in the other dude, Doug. I forget what his last name is. And again, black people celebrating that we have this great victory, and it's not really a victory because it's kind of like you save white people's asses again. White people clearly said that they did not care that he was a rapist, that he was a child molester, a sexual predator, a pedophile. Man, look, it's a video floating out there, and you've probably seen it. They don't care. Well, Jesus forgives, so I forgive him too. Well, that was a long time ago. That was such a long time ago. I think he's a changed man.
I haven't seen it.
Ah, man. White folk making every excuse to vote for Roy Moore. And black came out and showed how much our vote really counts. And they voted Doug in, which they not finna get nothing. I seriously doubt it. I seriously doubt they're gonna get anything from Doug because from what I understand, he wasn't saying anything about what he was finna do for black people. But and then it was somebody on Facebook was like, see, that's why we should stop voting for Republicans and start voting for the Democrats. And I was like, nah. Again, taking people to school, I'm like, the Dixiecrats, and I purposely wrote Dixiecrats for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Because it puts the conversation in a historical context. So I'm like, the Dixiecrats have historically never gave a fuck about black people. So
Come on.
anything, instead of voting strictly Democrat, which is what black people like to do, we just want to vote for the Democrat, we should start our own party. And the nigga was like, yeah, that's the truth. Ain't argue with that. And I say Dixiecrats for a reason, because Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. And they only changed from Dixiecrats to Democrats, I think, in the early 1960s. They swapped from Dixiecrats to Democrats. But you didn't know that the Republicans and the Democrats used to be on opposite sides of the spectrum. The Republicans, that was the ones that was for the poor,
Mm-hmm.
and was against slavery, and it was the Dixiecrats who was pro-slavery.
Mm.
Okay? Abraham Lincoln so-called freed them slaves, but he himself was a good old boy from Kentucky, and he said, if I could preserve the Union and keep the slaves, I would.
Mm-hmm.
But he couldn't.
But you know what's crazy?
He didn't want to emancipate the slaves, because we're not free people. It was never free, emancipated. But it was the Republicans from back in the day who was more for the common people. And then somewhere in the 1950s and 60s, they basically swapped ideas, and Republicans became the rich people's party, and the Democrats became the poor people's party. But again, opposite sides of the same white supremacist coin. So congratulations, black people. You have white society again. But when are we going to get together?
22 days.
And maybe not. We should start our own political party. But if not, put some paper in a brown paper bag and slide it to one of these politicians. And also, we need to be raising up our own politicians.
I agree.
We should stop raising politicians and start raising politicians.
It's crazy how, like, and I'm just thinking back to things like when I grew up, when I was younger, like, we were told to vote in a certain way and didn't even know why we're voting that way. You know what I mean? Like, people will tell you to be a Democrat, and you don't even know. We never knew. I didn't know what, like, the differences between Democrat and Republican until I was, like, 17 years old. No. Yeah, I was around 16, 17 when Al Gore was running for president. My old social studies teacher, shout out to Mr. Carey, made us watch the election and made us watch learn what it meant to be Democrat and Republican. And if we picked either side, we had to give like a 15-page dissertation as to why this is explaining why we picked what we picked. If it was us, then yada, yada, yada. But it's almost like when you're younger, and especially in the community that I grew in, nobody talked about voting. People, just say, when you used to ask the adults, like, why should we vote this or that, they would just vote Democrat. You can't be Republican. Only white people are Republicans.
Even
you know what I mean?
Rolly the Boule Bird's a Republican.
Mm-hmm. When I grew up, they would say only white people were Republicans. Black folks need to vote Democrat. But nobody talks about why we're voting Democrat or what it means to vote Democrat. Democrats ain't done nothing for black folks either. Look, it's this, I'm going to have to find it too, so I can show you what's on. If I knew we was going this deep into it, I would have been prepared. But it's this paper, can't necessarily say where I got it from, but it gives all this detailed information on how all the other ethnicities receive reparations, and it broke down like the slavery of it broke down like the slavery of Democrats and all that, and ended up getting it from this lawyer guy or whatever. I ain't seen him in years. I ain't seen him since I accidentally. Well, I didn't necessarily accidentally get it. He was just like, here, you want to take a look at this? And it's all this like basically documented paperwork that technically people like you and me ain't supposed to see. But I really don't care. But I'm gonna have to shoot you the information so you can see what I'm talking about. Like I read all of it and I was like, wow. And why are black folks voting Democrat? But I'm off my soapbox.
I mean, you keep going if you want to, nigga.
Brother, what are you preoccupied? You looking up some information?
No, I am playing Empire.
You know what? This is what niggas do. This is what niggas do, black people.
Well, first of all, I'm smart enough.
I knew. Oh, you multitasking, huh?
Multitasking. I am a pothead that can multitask. That's what I am.
Oh my gosh! I had somebody tell me it's your duty to vote. I had this white guy argue me about the responsibilities of why black people should vote. I've had somebody tell me, oh, you just don't understand what has been sacrificed for you. You don't understand the sacrifices behind voting. Okay, moving on. And then I had this white guy tell me, well, you need to vote. Women could vote, and especially as an African-American black woman. And I'm looking at this white guy like, okay, are you done? And I, no. As an African-American black woman, you should feel like it is your duty and privilege to vote.
Oh, privilege. Oh, Lord.
He was turning red in the face and started sweating. He was hot. And I said
go vote,
one thing. I said, okay, well, I will continue to vote locally. But as far as the presidency, I could care less. He said, no. It is your duty and your right especially as an American citizen. You don't understand what your ancestors did. White man tell me here, once again, white man tell me about my ancestors and culture. You don't understand what ancestors did and what they had to go through to fight to vote. And even when blacks could vote, women still wasn't able to vote. So as a black African American woman, you should understand the importance of voting. You should be ashamed of yourself. I say you should be ashamed to think that even your vote counts. That's what you should be ashamed of.
That man got some black coochie one time and flipped out.
That man was hot. I said you should be ashamed to even think that your vote counts. I'm gonna end this conversation with this. Bro, did you know that your vote does not matter when it comes to the presidency? You want to know why? Had you did your history and study, you would know that it is the electoral college that picked the president. Your vote doesn't count. And moving on. And he had nothing else to say after that. He just got mad and stuffed away. What are you going to say? I'm wrong? When you know I'm right. So yeah, I'll end it with that. But you can go, we circling back to you a pothead now?
Man, I've been a pothead, nigga. I've been smoking weed off and on for the past, 13 years?
You knew real.
Off and on for the past 13 years.
You do realize that smoking weed, the sticky icky, maybe not Reggie Bush, but something greater. The wacky tobacco.
Kush. Be like the Arab homies. The Kush. You smoking the Kush? Yes, I like the Kush. For real, baby. Oh yes, I like the Kush. Yes, Kush is good in hookah. Kush. So who's saying that me being a pothead?
Them trees, the pot, sir. It is a gateway drug.
You bullshit.
And you're eventually going to be smoking or sucking penis for crack soon.
Wow. Well. Now we know.
All right.
Now we know SCSTL. Now we know. Because I smoke weed, I am prone to smoke crack now and suck penis and sell all the shit in my house.
I got cheeseburgers, man.
Nigga, you know.
That's about the dumbest thing I think I heard all week. I listened to that 420 documentary or whatever about how 420 got started and all that. And there was only one person out the whole documentary that was really pushing like weed is a gateway drug. I was like, I've smoked weed off and on for like a few years in my 20s. Like, and when I say off and on, like maybe once a year. And I have never had a desire to smoke crack, acid, do meth, snort pills. I've never had a desire to do any of that stuff. And I'm like, if I'm thinking to myself, like, if we really want to say that, like, everybody who's ever smoked weed would be cracked out right now.
Snoop Dogg would damn sure be cracked out.
Man.
Him and Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson would have bumped up the meth by now.
Oh, yeah, him, Willie Nelson, Wiz Khalifa. A lot of them be cracked out right now.
I'm finna be cracked out pretty soon. People don't even realize that I smoke. If I didn't tell you that I smoke pot religiously, not necessarily religiously, but I enjoy the recreational benefits, you would never know. People are so surprised. They'd be like, damn, you smoke weed? You don't look like you smoke weed. What's a weed? Because
your lips ain't black. You ain't smoking roaches all the time.
That's a myth.
People be burning their lips.
That's a myth. That is a motherfucking myth. Just like potheads are lazy, potheads are dumb. Like, no, that's a myth.
Yeah, people say, well, your lips are black. You smoke. That has nothing to do with nothing.
And people surprised, like, damn, you smart. You smoke weed? Yeah.
Next time, tell them you're a Rastafarian.
No, I got dreadlocks. Come on, man. First of all, weed's not a gateway drug. Was, and never will be a gateway drug.
Right.
I've only heard one person say that weed was a gateway drug for him, and he was white. He was white. Just to be perfectly honest with you. He was white. But I have had opportunities to snort dust, ice, do speed, Adderalls. I turn that shit down. I had motherfuckers offer me lean before. They I turn that shit down. I don't even drink alcohol like that. I could not take a drop of alcohol for a whole year, but I will smoke some hell out of some weed. And I have my own business, and I work in my community, and I work in my church, and I'm smart, and I'm doing the podcast. Bruh, that is a myth that the white man came up with because he no longer taxes. That's all it is. He said that niggas are going to rape your daughters, so we need to make weed illegal. And now, if we're going that route, we'll go back. The founding fathers grew weed on their farms. Now, mind you, so if they were smoking it, we know that the Native Americans smoked it for probably thousands of years. We don't necessarily know if George Washington was getting high with them slave teeth in his mouth. He didn't have wood teeth, folk. He had slave teeth, okay?
You stupid.
Yeah, they're serious.
I know you're serious. I'm just saying.
They said at school, oh, George Washington had wood teeth. No.
He didn't have wood teeth at all.
He got his dentures in the Smithsonian or something. Nigga literally would take slave teeth and lasso them to these motherfucking dentures and put them in his mouth. But they all grew hemp on their farms. Hell, even my grandfather said that when he was in the Navy, and I think this was probably about the 50s, 60s, when my grandfather was in the military, he said that the ropes on the ship, the anchor ropes, were made out of hemp. The guys would try to take it and smoke it, which is completely stupid, because you can't smoke hemp. Well, you can. It's not going to be very enjoyable, but hemp is actually cheaper and better than cotton. That is a fact. You can go research that. Part of the reason why they made weed illegal is because the tree farmers, the paper companies, were losing money.
Mm-hmm.
The cotton industry was losing money. Hemp is cheaper to make. Clothes, seating, shoes, all type of stuff. It's cheaper, better than cotton.
That is true.
But certain individuals decided that they was losing too much money. Now we got to outlaw it. Now it's legal in some states, even though it's still illegal on a federal level. I believe it's classified as a scheduled class. What is this? Class 4 drug or level 1 drug.
Yeah.
Level 1, which is the highest. And crack cocaine and alcohol and all of those other shit is like nowhere near as bad, even though there have been 0 reported deaths from marijuana ever. Like Williams say, you think the nigga died, but he gonna wake up in 3 hours hungry enough to eat the whole house.
Oh, wow.
Never have I ever wanted to ever try anything other than weed. I like to try different strains. I like dabs. I like oil. You know, I like sativas. I like indicas. I like smoke. Am I high right now? No. Because I know that if I smoke, I can't necessarily think as sharply as I would if I was not high. If I'm working, it's cool. But when I'm trying to have a conversation, sometimes I'll forget where I'm going and forget what I'm saying and then all this other stuff. So I don't do the podcast high. I probably will not do the podcast high. Because I know how I am. You know. So to keep this process going and to make sure that the information is on point, I just don't get high before the podcast.
Okay.
You know what I mean? If we regular phone conversation, I might be at the crib getting high.
I'm sure of it.
Smoked a couple bowls before I came over here, but you know that done wore off. That's cool. Potheads are not lazy. You are lazy if you want to be lazy. Dumb if you want to be dumb. Because people are like, damn, you so smart. You smoke weed? Yes. And they'd be like, oh, weed makes you lazy. My nephew. And blah, 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 blah. Hold up. I smoke weed. You smoke weed? Yes, I smoke weed. And that is a misconception. I'm here every morning, 7, 8 o'clock, on the job, ready to get this shit done. That ain't got nothing to do with no weed. If I smoke weed and if weed was so bad, I wouldn't have the ambition to start a business. I would have the ambition to work hours. And trust me, I just came off of a 6-day stretch, 10 hours apiece. 9 hours on Saturday. You see what I'm saying? Monday through Saturday, a 6-day stretch, 10 hours, plus travel time, plus some other stuff that I had to do. Like, I was so tired the other day. Like, I came in Wednesday, and normally Wednesday, I head over to the school building and with the kids. But I was so tired, I got home, went to sleep at 5, woke up about 10, stayed up till about 11:30, and went back to sleep and didn't wake up till about 4. Set the clock 4:30, then set the shit for 4:45, then set the 5. I was tired, dead tired, nigga. I was tired yesterday. The only reason why I'm functioning now is because I caught a little nap earlier, but I was hella tired. But the shit's paying off. You can't blame that on weed. If weed was all that, then Snoop Dogg wouldn't be where he was at. Bob Marley wouldn't have made the music that he made. Wiz Khalifa wouldn't be where he's at.
I agree.
Clear everybody to smoke weed, pot. Damn near everybody smoke pot at least once in their life. At least once. Hell, all these rappers smoking weed. Bone Thugs and Harmony been smoking weed for years. They made some of the
Yes,
best
sir.
music ever, nigga. We don't know when the fire was getting high when they was making that stuff. We don't know. We don't know. But
Probably was, man.
it
Hey.
helps you bring out the more creative side of who you are. And I've had some of my best conversations with God. And by God, I mean the creator, the spirit that's inside of me. I have had my best conversations and realizations with the creator while I was high. Be sitting there on the couch and be thinking about some stuff because I constantly process stuff in my mind. It's the Aquarius in me. I'm constantly processing stuff in my mind. And I'll be sitting there getting high and I'll be thinking about some stuff and I'll be like, okay, God, I get it. All right, I got it. Cool. Know what I need to do. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But is weed a gateway drug? No. Is not, was not, nor forever will be a gateway drug unless you want to do that.
I agree.
So forget you and all your little bullshit ass misconceptions, listening to what the white man told you, instead of going to
Are
research
you talking to me?
yourself. But I know that's too much like doing right.
Yeah, I don't necessarily believe what somebody tell me. I'd rather do the research on my own. That just further perpetuates like the state of ignorance. Why would you just believe what somebody tell you? I thought that's had to be the dumbest thing I think I've heard this week so far is that, oh, marijuana is a gateway drug. If marijuana was a gateway drug, everybody who smokes marijuana would be cracked out right now. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
It's dumb.
True. All right, that's cool. We about an hour and 50 minutes in.
Really?
Pretty decent. Yeah, we doing pretty good today. We doing pretty good. I actually thought we was running overtime. I was thinking about cutting some of the rest of these topics out, but since we only about an hour and 50 minutes, we can go ahead and get to the rest of this stuff. So, I want to talk about accountability or lack thereof in our community.
Mm-hmm. And communication skills.
And I say that because of the things that I see. So, one of the places where I work at is Wellston. Wellston Link Station. Anybody from St. Louis, shout out to Wellston.
Well, sir.
Wellston is the hood.
Mm-hmm.
Wellston straight hood. So, we up there, and there's this like little link market. There's a little shack.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't trying to promote nobody because I ain't getting paid for that shit. So there's this little they'll be selling little fruits and vegetables and stuff right there at the station. And somehow, some way, some shit just escalated and popped off where all you heard was yelling and screaming and cussing and everything. So we like, the hell? So this girl all in front of the market threw her stuff down on a goddamn oranges and shit, threw her stuff down, ready to fight these other chicks. And it was just a whole mess. And said that the girls was claiming they said or something, and they said that she was the one that started the fight or whatever, and they ended up getting on the train and leaving because St. Louis County was already posted up. So I had called it in, and then St. Louis County was already on scene. I was kind of trying to flag them down so they could come down and handle the situation. And these were all black girls. These were all black girls, young, probably somewhere between the ages of 19 and 22, probably all of them. And we were steady asking her, like the police officers were steady asking her what was wrong. There was a couple of maintenance dudes, or like one of the dudes, he was a flagger. He's a flagger for Metro. He a real cool black dude. I don't know his name, but see him all the time. It was him and another cat, I think is like one of the maintenance dudes. So they pulled up in the truck, trying to calm the situation down. And we steady trying to ask this girl, like, what's wrong? And her only response is, these hoes and these bitches, and I'm going to whip somebody's ass. No lie.
Wow.
Daddy trying to ask her, what's wrong? What's the problem? What's going on? And all she could say was crying and bawling and these hoes and wah, 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 and I'm going to whip somebody's ass. And I told her, the police told her, the black Metro cats told her, like, look, you gotta tell us what's going on. If you're not gonna tell us what's going on, we can't help you. She still really couldn't articulate her thoughts. And I thought that was so sad because her parents failed her. And not only did her parents fail her, her grandparents probably failed her parents.
So on and so forth.
And so on and so forth, because it is no reason for you not to be able to articulate something as simple as what happened and how did the fight get initiated. And I'm like,
yep.
Damn. So me and this chick was talking, and we was talking about it, and she's like, well, you know, that's her fault. That's her fault. You know, she old enough to study, and she old enough to do this and educate herself, and da-da-da-da. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. Just like Bro Lawrence always say, K through 12 is your first education. It's your primary education. After you get out of high school time, that starts your secondary education, which is educating yourself. So I get it. I am in complete agreement with you. However, we black people think that there's only one right answer per question. Not the case. There are multiple right answers per question. It's just like, you know where I stay at. Kings Highway and 70. Kings Highway, Union and 70. I stay right around that little area, you know, Berkshire, right around that little neighborhood. Okay? So if someone was to ask me, how would I get to Bowles and Highway Interstate 44 from where we're at right now? I can tell you, oh, well, I'm gonna give you two answers, because again, there's multiple right answers for one question. How do I get to Bowles at 44? Okay, you got two options here. You can go straight down Kings Highway, cross over 40, and when you get down to 44, you can take 44 west to Bowles. That'll cut straight down Kings Highway. However, that'll get you there, but I feel that's the slower method. Or you can take Highway 70 east to 44, take that downtown, take that to the south, take 44 west, straight highway to Bowles and 44 in Fenton. So again, there's multiple right answers for a question. So back to the conversation at hand, I wanted to frame that.
Okay.
Absolutely right. I agree with you. However, she doesn't know what tools she needs. She doesn't even know where to start to find the tools, because she doesn't even know what tools she's looking for. She doesn't even know what tools she's missing, because her parents have failed her. I can't necessarily blame the school. The school is the school, but your parents have failed you, baby girl. And I'm telling you that because I love you. Your parents have failed you. And I get it. I feel sorry for her to a certain extent, because again, this is the cards that she was dealt. She probably grew up in an impoverished home. or at least her parents or whoever did not work with her in her education. But I told old girls like this. I used to have to work with my father when I was young. From the time I was like 6 years old, when my father rolled, I rolled.
Mm-hmm.
And that is also how I gained my appreciation for the older generation's culture and their music, by being with my father and listening to the music that he listened to. There wasn't no playing no rap back then unless you had your Sony cassette player. This is before CDs. You had to have the Sony little Walkman.
Mm-hmm.
You had to have the 2 little 4 little tapes on you in your pocket, or you had to have them in the work truck. Oh, okay, I'm done listening to this. Let me go out to the truck and get another cassette tape. So this is before CDs.
Right.
But a lot of times I didn't have no money for batteries, so I'd be listening to what he listened to, or we'd be in the truck and he'll play whatever he want to play. Hey, don't touch my radio, boy. But anyway, I digress.
Right.
He would tell me, go to the truck and get a nail. Son, go to the truck and get a nail. I go to the truck, get a nail. That ain't the right nail. Go back and get another one. I go to the truck, I get a nail. That ain't the right nail. Go get the nail. Go out to the truck, I'll grab 2, 3 nails. Is any one of these it? No, that ain't it. So eventually I got to the point where it's like, okay, you want a nail, but you didn't specify which nail that you wanted. So let me ask, what kind of nail do you want? Oh, I want 1.5 inch galvanized wood nail. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
So he taught me to ask the right questions, to seek the knowledge to
Right.
for myself, because again, there's multiple nails in the truck. You got wood nails, you got drywall nails, you got long nails, you got short nails, you got deck nails. You know what I mean? You got all type of nails. It's just like screws. You got wood screws, you got drywall screws, you got deck screws, you got all different type of screws. So he was teaching me to ask the right questions in order to get the answer that I am seeking. So she did not have that in her life. She did not have nobody to teach her that you need to ask certain questions in order to gain an answer. And it also helps you to articulate your point, because it's easy to say, go get a nail. It's my job to ask, what kind of nail do you want? So I look at it from both sides. Yes, she's failing herself by not studying and by not educating herself, but at the same time, the poor child don't even know where to look. You could say, hey, go down there and, just walk down that road and pick up some tools along the way. She could pick up a tool, a hammer here, a nail there, a board here, some glue here, but she don't know how to use those tools. So even if she picked them up, she wouldn't know what to do with them, because nobody has taught her to even think about how to use these tools for her benefit.
Yeah. I agree.
So you can feel free to chime in, because that's my piece.
I think some people, when they get angry, they are so angry that they can't speak. I've been in a situation where I can say this. I recognize when I'm in a position that I'm so angry that it just shouldn't be wise for me to talk, because I will get so angry that my words will fumble over. Like, my brain is processing faster. My brain is processing much slower than my emotions. That's how I used to be. I used to get to a place where I would get so angry and so frustrated that my brain is not catching up with how I feel, if that makes any sense. So I would try to talk and I would fumble over my words. Now, being older, because I would have been like, oh girl, like, I didn't have a parent who taught me how to articulate things, or who taught me how to say this or that, or be this or that, or say how I feel and what those feelings mean, and how to get them across. What?
Happy feelings in the air.
You just had to do it, didn't you?
Feelings. Oh. Anyways, you can go.
You stupid.
Shout out to Magic Beverly.
All right. But yeah, I didn't have a parent that did that. So, being younger, like, I used to get so angry and I would fumble over my words, and people would laugh at me because they thought it was a joke. You know what I'm saying? And I used to get so frustrated. Now that I'm older and I've taught myself to do better, I have no problem with articulating something. Like, I don't understand how we can be at a space, to me anyway, how we allow ourselves to get stuck in that place to where we can't communicate effectively. We can't express our emotions effectively. Like, if you can recognize that this is a problem, but instead of learning how to deal with it or learning how to adjust it so that you can articulate accordingly, you just rather make an excuse for it. But this is how they are. This is how I am. I can't stand people like that. You don't want to learn nothing. You want to learn how to make an excuse for it and make it sound believable, but you don't want to learn anything to elevate. Does that make any sense? Oh, yeah. I can't stand people that make excuses for folks. Like, and this may not make sense, but okay, prime example. Somebody passed away. Somebody close to you passed away. The first thing folks say is, my mama died or my brother did. I don't want nobody to say nothing to me. I'm angry. Now, I have not done anything to you, but because that parent or a person that's close to you has passed away, that gives you the leeway to be an asshole. I just don't agree with that. And that's how I feel about being able to learn and grow and elevate to where we can communicate effectively with each other. Because instead of just saying, hey, I'm not in a place where I should, I'm just not in that space to where it's just not a good time to talk. Most people in common sense going to say, okay, no problem. But then all this stuff happens to you on the outside world and you come in, it's almost like you passing your feelings and emotions off to everybody else. No, I'm talking about two things at the same time, but I feel like they coincide. They coincide with one another. You over playing the game?
No, I'm not playing the game. I'm going to go live on the gram. I was going to put a little video up in the podcast so people can see what the hell we talking about. Put it up one time. But I'm listening to you. Continue, nigga. Continue.
Gram. Do it on the 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 gram. This better not be on. I hate you.
Nigga, I was already broadcasting motherfucking live on Facebook, asshole.
And I was like, the one day that I'm letting my hair rest, that's the day that he wants to say, oh, we'll put this on Facebook Live.
Nigga, please. Black women's hair go through them struggle periods. It happens to all the black women when you're in that period between your hair being done and your hair not being done. All black women getting that. It's just like me, nigga. You may not be able to tell, but there's a point where my hair get kind of long, and then it get a little thin looking on top, and I be like, time to cut this shit off. Hair's starting to look like struggle, starting to look like time on some shit.
I was talking to Regis about that yesterday, about men and how they feel about their hairlines and stuff. I was like, men and hairlines and barbers, that's a serious subject. And I was telling him, I was like, when I cut his hair last night and I gave him a lining, I was like, man, I say I'm trying to, make sure I do this right. Because the last thing I'm trying to do is mess up a black man's lining. Like, you mess up somebody's lining, you push too far to the back. I don't know what it is about that hair in the front.
Gotta have it's gotta be crisp.
He's lining too far back. It's something about the hair in the top of a man's head where it just don't grow back. I would never understand why that is.
On the top of the head?
I'm gonna have to ask Armand that question. Like, why is it that if guys' lining is messed up, it just seems like they lining messed up forever? You know what I mean? Like, it just the hair just don't grow back right.
Right.
I'm gonna have to ask Armand about that. You know, he just opened this shop in Dallas.
In Dallas, Texas, you say?
He just opened his own shop. So proud of him.
That's
So super proud of him.
hell yeah, that's dope.
He gonna change the game.
Shop,
He
man.
gonna change
Shout
the
out
game.
to Armand.
Armand Banks and opened up
Yes.
a whole barber shop. I'm so happy for the man.
Yes. Man, oh man,
Everything.
it's
You really put that on
else
the.
that you would like to add to our people?
I think we pretty much touched on everything, sir. Oh,
All
rock
right.
rental. We
Yeah,
ain't talking about.
not quite there yet. Not quite there yet.
Okay.
Because taking this accountability thing down a side path, situation that happened this past Thursday. Me and me and the homie who's another post guard, he does the detail for the Links to Health little mobile RV health screening truck. So they be posted at Wellston on Thursdays. So I was talking to him and his cousin for a good hour, 40 minutes, an hour. And we steady trying to tell his cousin, like, nigga, it's your fault. The reason why you can't see your kids. And he'd be like, nah, man, you know. So he was like, okay, bruh. So his cousin asked him, he'd be like, so you have your own place? Yeah, I stay with my mama, but that's my place. Then that ain't your place. Yes, it is. That is my place. You know, just because I stay, that's my place. And he like, is your name on the lease? Well, no, then it ain't your place. That's not your house.
Right.
It's your mama
Right.
house. And then, now this is cousin, so he know his cousin very well. And he was like, so he just had this mindset, like, I can only do so much because of all of these outside sources. Like he said, he's swearing up and down, like, oh, I can't get no resources, I can't get no EBT, I can't get no Section 8, blah, blah, blah. And his cousin was like, yes, you can. He like the same resources that's available for women is available for the men. You just got to know how to access it. And we asked a couple of different people, and this one dude was like, yeah, he's like, man, I used to be on Section 8. I got off of that shit. Now I'm doing good. But he steady want to holler, man, that bitch, she ain't want to see my kids, and blah, 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 blah. And his cousin, like, man, he like, look, this is why I didn't want to have this conversation with dude, because he do what he should to actually stabilize himself. He be like to work all these little labor jobs, and he'll drive to Texas and work for a little while. He'll drive over here and work for a little while. Instead of finding a decent job to stay at and work at, he always want to go out and travel and go do all this. But that shit be seasonal. Then he want, man, it ain't nothing out here in St. Louis, man. There ain't no jobs out here, man. There's not no good paying jobs, man. You know, just making every excuse in the world. I'd be like, so you like labor work? I'd be like, why don't you get you a truck and start moving some furniture or something? Nigga got quiet. Nigga got quiet, man. Like, oh, okay, so it's clear that you don't want to start no type of business. You see what I'm saying? It's clearly that you're not really trying to do nothing for yourself. And And I think this is a problem with us as black folkies, us as folk, because you always complaining about what it is that you can't get, or you always complaining about what you can't do. You know what I mean? I know you know people like that. And then people giving you some real world solutions, bro. Like, hey, how about you get your shit together so that you can do what you need to do as a man.
Making excuses as to why you can't do it when somebody give you the information, you still don't want to take the advice.
Steady making excuses for what it is that you ain't doing, and we've provided you with real world solutions, man. Niggas talking about he's in his car. Man, anybody want to buy a car, man, it run good. All it needs is an alternator. And his cousin like, well, how much you pay for the car? Oh, I paid $1,000 for it. And we both asking him, like, you don't want to get the alternator fixed? Now, this dude black. I just, pretty sure that you already knew that he was black, but just for those who couldn't figure out by the conversation, the dude was black, he's black.
So you can go to AutoZone, get a brand new alternator for cheap. What you trying to sell it?
Nigga, I told him, I was like, bro, go to Rock Auto. Go to rockauto.com online, and you can get parts for cheap. For old cars, new cars, you can get parts wholesale. And they'll ship you within a couple days. Do that. I'm like, bro, you mean to tell me anything that's wrong with it is your alternator, and you say it runs good, and you don't want to get that fixed, my nigga?
Don't make sense.
Really? Bruh. And he's steady hollering about what he can't do in Missouri, the system, and blah, 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 blah. Steady hollering about what he can't do. And we had already provided solutions for his problems. Now, I will say that I seen him Saturday morning, and I will say after we drove the brother so hard about what the fuck he ain't doing, dude, he like, yeah, man, I went ahead and got my car fixed. Oh, so you did get your car fixed? Oh, man, I got the alternator. I took it down to the mechanic. Okay, so finally, something that me and your cousin told you. We all black men, so of course we trying to help you as a black man. As black men, trying to help you, bruh. So finally, something in the nigga head clicked like, damn, maybe I should get this car fixed. Yeah, you talking about gonna sell this car? Then what you gonna do about some transportation, my nigga? You gonna catch the bus?
Like, how you gonna get around?
You gonna catch that Greyhound and go see your kids in Tennessee, my niggas? Is that what you gonna do?
Ain't even thought that far.
On that aspect, I'm proud of dude, but he still got this thinking like, well, damn, I can only do so much because of the system, and I can only do this. But then the nigga will shoot himself in the foot before he even get the job. Like, dude be like, man, I got this managerial position at Hardee's. That paid like $20,000 a year, blah, 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 blah. Man, I got the experience. They said, man, they just waiting on my background. I know my background dirty, man, so I know I ain't gonna get the job, so I'm gonna go ahead and do something else. And we like, nigga, how the fuck you know you're not gonna get the job? Because they my background, and I had already been to prison, man, Like, and so I'm asking dude, like, okay, nigga, what's on your background? Nigga, you got some child molestation? No.
Right. Rape charges?
Nigga, you got some
sexual assault?
armed robbery, strong arm robbery or something, my nigga? You got some rape charges, nigga? No. Okay, you got some old drug cases. Okay, so, nigga, you get hired at Hardee's, nigga. It's just Hardee's. They just making sure that you ain't no child molester or strong arm robbery, nothing like that. That's all they checking for. But like his cousin was saying, like, nigga, you can't sit still long enough to do what's best for you and your kids. Speak on Rebecca. I know that you know some niggas who always blaming the system for what the fuck they not doing. We know the system is the system. The system is the system, my nigga. We know that. Any black person anywhere in the goddamn world who don't live in some fucking jungle know that the system is the system. But how can you blame the system for some shit that you not doing?
I agree.
Go in, my nigga. Go in.
I got a homeboy that's like that.
Set him out. What's his name? Set him out.
Shut up. I'm not gonna do him like that. He'll die.
Nigga, this 5150, nigga. We naming names. 5150. But shout out to 5150.
Right.
We is live in the 5150.
Yeah.
I don't know who's watching, but shout out to y'all 5150 chat room goon motherfuckers, man. This is the Watch St. Louis podcast. Just to let y'all know. Let's go ahead, Becky. Set your friend out. Point him out.
Shut up, nigga.
Does he buck dance for master and date white women? Speak on it.
He date white women, so does that mean he buck dance for master because he date white women?
Well, in his situation, in other situation, maybe not so much.
I would say in his situation, yes, in a sense, because he say he date white women because it's easier. He say he date white women because they not necessarily it's easier than dealing with a black person. All right, this is what he says. He says that sex with a black woman is better, hands down. But excuse me, dating a white woman, it's easier to get them to do things, try things new, and it's easier to control them more than black people.
So this is a control issue.
Yes, this is the same homeboy who does have children, and he has one black daughter, and he has 3 mixed daughters and a mixed son. All of them are by white women. Now, him and I used to have a conflict because I felt as though he was treating his precious white children better than his dark-skinned daughter. And him and I, and that's a lot of the reason why him and I don't really talk like that or talk as much, because I didn't too much care for that.
I was gonna ask you about that too, man. I'm glad you brought that up because I was gonna ask. Treats his black daughter differently than he does his mixed kids.
And this is when the situation got pointed out some years ago. I was like in my early 20s, like 22, 23. And about 10 years ago, him and I had a conversation one day. We was at the house. We had his oldest daughter. His oldest daughter is the all-black child. We had her, and then we had his second daughter at the time when he only had 2 kids, Anaya. Both girls equally beautiful. It was just one with fair skin, longer hair, the typical features of being, having a mixed kid. So then, and get drinking water, nigga. So one day, I noticed that every day for like 2 weeks, he would go somewhere and
5150.
Yeah, I know. Every day for 2 weeks, he will only take his mixed child with him when he would go places. Like if he would go to the store or if he would go anywhere, he will only take his mixed daughter. And I confronted him and I said, hey man, like what's going on? And he said, what you mean? I said, well, I noticed that you don't take your older daughter nowhere with you, but you take your second youngest. And he was like, I can see my older daughter anytime. I said, that's inaccurate. You can see your younger daughter more than you can see your oldest daughter because the oldest mama, at that time, it was kind of like in between. between him and her, not her and I, but between him and her. And I said, your second youngest, her mama's still trying to be with you. And that's the one that she holds over your head like a toy. I said, so help me understand, why is it that you take her everywhere you go? And I noticed that you're more protective over her than you are your oldest child. He got mad and got defensive. Man, it ain't the case. That's not what it is. I love both my daughters equally, blah, blah, blah. I said, then why do you treat them differently? I say, you made sure she had the best of everything, and you don't make sure that she have anything. Help me understand that. No, that ain't what it is. So, of course, my family heard the conversation, and they went in on him because everybody been noticing it too, but they didn't want to say nothing because him and I have a closer relationship than they do with him. Well, they did with him at the time. They have a close relationship now, but still. But they didn't want to say nothing, so they heard the conversation. They was going back and forth about it. And like a week later, that's when he came to me and was like, okay, yeah, maybe you're right. I do see what you're talking about. I do treat her better. At first, he tried to make excuses as to why he treats her better than he did his older daughter. And I didn't let it fly. I'm like, no good, bro. No good. Like, you can't come to me and say, oh, well, you know, I know that my oldest daughter, mama gonna make sure she had what she needed. Nah, bro, we not gonna do that. What it is that you like your mixed kids more than you like your all black kids. And I feel like that's a self-reflection of the hatred that you feel towards your own people and the hatred you feel for yourself. And I said, it don't make sense. So then he's like, nah, man, it ain't even like that, but I do see what you mean. I'm going to have to switch up. I said, how about treat them all equally? She ain't no better than this one. What's the hate? And this is the same brother that at one point he would try to come to me and say, man, you don't understand, the system got it out here bad for us. And it's hard to see my kids.
There you go with that bullshit.
Don't let me see the kids if I ain't with them. And I said, well, you should have chose better bitches.
It's funny how whenever somebody black, and usually a black male in particular, does not do what they are supposed to do, especially when confronted with the truth, they automatically blame it on the system. Well, you know, the system, and nigga, again, the system is the system, nigga, but you can't use that as an excuse. I hate people who use the system as an excuse, nigga. We know the system is fucked up. You knew the system was fucked up. You knew, and if you don't know, you refuse to know. But quit blaming it on the system, because you can move through the system and get what you need.
I agree.
I bet you if you was moving through the system with your pretty white family, it wouldn't be like that, would it?
Oh, he used to be all over them white kids. Like, oh, these are my kids, blah, blah, blah. Isn't she beautiful? Her hair is so long. And then it's, oh, this is Kaisha. This is my oldest daughter. Like, what? Her mama named her that. It ain't the baby's fault.
I mean, I'm not saying that the name. I'm talking about his actions. Oh, hey, these are all my pretty mixed kids. Come on out, mixed kids. It's like what is that with Wayne Brady? Let's Make a Deal.
Yeah.
Curtain number 1 is all of the mixed mulatto kids and his white stepkids. Time curtain number 2 is a zonk. So it's like curtain number 2 is your black daughter. And curtain is all of your mixed kids and all your white stepkids. Like, curtain number 1 And then you so excited. Now, mind you, they don't be knowing what's behind these curtains, but you go behind curtain number one, you sad. You happy as hell. But if you had went to curtain number two, you would have got that womp, 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 womp. Nigga, that curtain number two had your black dart over there. That is some straight coonery. He may not be buck dancing for master, but that is some straight coonery. Straight up. Straight up. I hope he gets better with that. I doubt he will. I seriously doubt he will. But it is what it is, nigga. Oh,
I don't think so.
So we are going on right about 2.5 hours. This is a long one today.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. All right. So, last but not least, we on these white boys. These punk-ass white boys who feel that they can use their privilege to buy some dope and keep their car. And I bet you I'll be like, what the hell? So I'm going to make it quick. I was at Wellston again. Wellston's in the hood. On at Wellston, you see a lot of individuals. So we there, and this white dude gets dropped off in his car. Okay. Me and dude, we standing outside, and that's Thursday. This was the same day we was talking to dude cousin, same day. So it was very eventful. So we see dude get dropped off, and he's looking around trying to figure out what the fuck he at. And he comes over to us like, hey, what Metro League station is this? Oh, this is Wellston. Oh, okay. What street is this? This is Plymouth. Oh, okay. And then the nigga just kind of walked off. Come to find out, nigga called the police. And by nigga, I mean white man. The white man called the police. And so the police, St. Louis County pulls up. North County Co-op pulls up. They like 4 cars deep. It's like 3 St. Louis County cars, and there's like one North County Co-op car. And so they pull up, they talking to dude. So one of the St. Louis County sergeants comes asking us if anybody had reported a stolen car. We was like, no, there was no stolen car. And I mean, again, like, these are officers, the county officers. These are the officers that I see on the regular. I deal with them. I talk to them. Of course, I talk to the black officers a little bit more than I do the white officers, but they've been pretty cool. So again, I don't believe they're race soldiers, or at least I haven't seen any race soldier type behavior. So I talk to them like anybody else because they're human. Just because they're white and they're police don't mean I got to treat them like shit. I'm not going to treat you like shit until until you show me that you need to be treated like shit. And they haven't shown me any type of racist behavior. That's what I told this dude. His name's Jake. Shout out to Jake, man. First time I ever heard a white man say he hate white people. I fucking hate white people, Dave. Fucking hate white people. Like, all right. He's like, I know you hate them too. I'm not even black, and I fucking hate white people. I'm like, I don't hate white people. I just don't like the ones who choose to practice racism. I'm like, you're white. You ain't racist. You cool. Juice is cool. You know what I mean? Like, I'm cool. I got white friends. Unless you prove to me that you're racist, like, we could be cool. It's whatever. He's like, well, you got a good point. So anyway, white dude who hates white people. Shout out to Jake, man. Crazy. So again, we talking to a sergeant from St. Louis County, and he asked me, anybody report a stolen car? We like, no. Like, okay. So he goes back over there, and they interrogating the white dude. They got him in handcuffs, got him sitting on the curb. I say blah, blah, blah. And then a couple minutes later, Sarge comes back. He walks back over, and he's like, "Hey, question." He's like, "What happened with this guy?" We was like, well, basically, he got dropped off, and he was walking around, and then he asked us what station this was, and then he asked us what street this was, and that was pretty much it." He's like, "Oh, okay." Because he reported that his car was stolen. He didn't say anything to you guys. Nah, he didn't say nothing to us. He was like, "Oh, okay." And I told dude flat out, I was like, "Well, to be honest with you, Sarge, I thought he was over here to buy some dope." Because that's what white boys do. They'll go to the hood, buy some dope, get high, and go home. Or they'll go to the hood, buy some dope, and then go home and get high. But either way, they going in the hood and buy some dope. Especially Wellston. Niggas be making dope deals at Wellston all the time. Is it my business? No. Ain't none of my business. Besides, I really don't give a fuck, but I know what it is. Especially the white boys. You see a white boy in that neighborhood, you already know what he wants. He wants some heroin. Or some cocaine. So here go one of these dope fiend ass white boys reporting his car stolen, and his only saving grace was he had his insurance card to his car. And so the Sarge was talking to us. He's like, well, he's like, basically what I think we got here is we got us a rock rental. We was like, what? He's like, yeah. He let them use the car in exchange for him getting some dope. And he got tricked out of his position. He let the dude tell him, like, hey, get out and check and see what time this bus comes. And dude, dumbass, got out the car, went over there and checked the bus schedule, and they skirted off on his ass.
Wow, you really thought you was finna get off with that.
You
stupid.
Goddamn white boy thought that he was just gonna get high and let these niggas use his car, and they was finna get that shit back to him. Then he was talking to us, man. I'm talking about the nigga had tears in his eyes. Oh man, you could smell the white privilege just coming off of him. Even though he a dope fiend, you could just tell the tears running down his eyes, and he's so sad that his car is gone. And you know, when you talking to people, their story don't necessarily make sense. First he come over like, man, I was over at the Rock Road and I was trying to get some directions, so I let these guys get in my car and wah, 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 and they ended up pointing the gun at me and told me to get out. Okay. And then he said, what else did he say? He crying and bawling, I don't know where I'm at. I don't know, I'm from, if I had my gun, it wouldn't be like this, but my gun's in Illinois. And I'm like, okay, if you had a gun and it's registered in Illinois, you must live over there. Why are you over here buying dope? That don't make no sense. But okay, cool, I'm gonna let you go with your bullshit ass white story.
You stupid.
Your bullshit ass story. Oh man, he had the tears coming out of his eyes, and then the other guard asked him, like, where are you from? It's like, well, I'm from North County, and I don't even know where I'm at, dude. I've never been over here before. I usually stay in North County. So your pistol's registered in Illinois, but you stay in North County? And you drove to the Rock Road because you was asking directions, and then you let some niggas get in your car. None of this shit you talking makes sense. Oh, and he looked so sad too. Oh, he had tears coming out of his eyes. Oh, he was so sad. And I said, ain't that a bitch? He probably sold his car for some dope and then gets mad at the fact that he sold his own car for some dope or rented his car out for some dope, and your monkey ass, your monkey white Caucasian mountain ass, Rocky Mountain nugget looking pasty turkey chicken looking bastard. You gonna use your that is the epitome of white privilege, my nigga. You can go sell your car for some dough and call that motherfucker in stolen. You wanna know how I know the nigga sold it? Why would you, if them niggas supposedly pointed a gun at you and told you to get out of your car, why would you have your insurance card on you?
Don't even make sense. You done did this before.
It don't make sense. So, you mad that you sold your car for some dope, and now you're gonna call that shit in? You a fuck boy. You a straight up fuck boy, but that speaks to the entitlement of white privileges. They can get these, what Sarge calls these rock rentals. They'll let these dudes use their car and they supposed to bring it back. Please, them niggas ain't gonna do nothing. They gonna slide, bend a few corners, burn some gas. They might hit a lick and ditch the car. They might dump a couple bodies and ditch the car. They might ride around to that motherfucking east side and get that motherfucker chopped up and get some bread for it and have their homeboys drop them off on this side of the river. But you gotta be an entitled asshole to think that you deserve to keep your car after selling it because you trying to get high. Shit I have never seen before. White people never cease to amaze me. I mean, they never stop amazing me. They never do. It's always something new I learn about some white folk, and I learn something new Thursday.
Every day, don't you?
White people trip.
I couldn't believe when you told me that story. I couldn't believe it because I'm like, man, I was telling Regis last night, and I was like, man, I hadn't heard of nobody doing that in a long time, not since I was a kid. Literally sold your car to get high and called it in stolen. He did it before.
Yeah, and that's what the sergeant said. He's like, oh, he's done this before.
I ain't confirmed it.
You a white
That's crazy
motherfucker. You don't sell your car for some boy, and then get mad that you sold it. Then call it in stolen. If that ain't some white people shit. My goodness. But
you better get your cousin, David.
Yeah, my cousin, he white. He white.
Why you saying with the overemphasis in the W?
Because he white.
Why you just can't be white?
No.
You got a whole in it, huh?
White people, unlike District Attorney Dubois, who's married to a white woman.
White woman, yeah, I remember that. Shout out to the Boondocks. The first season 1, 2, and 3. Season 1, 2, and 3.
Witherspoon,
Regina King. Who did Riley and Huey.
Shout out to Charlie Murphy, man. Rest in peace. Sam Jackson.
Richardson, the Richardson guy. What's the Richardson guy? He do the voice of he do a lot of voices on the Boondocks. Dark skinned brother.
I don't know.
Uncle Ruckus? Nah, not Uncle Ruckus. It's another brother. He do a lot of
on so many levels.
He do the voice of Thugnificent.
Jesus.
He does the voice of Thugnificent. I thought they said it was Terry Crews, but it ain't. It is Virginia Carr Jones. There we go, Carr Jones.
That's what's up, man. That is what's up. So, do you have anything that you would like to add to this rock rental?
I honestly, and maybe this is just my naive part of me, Like, I legit just thought, like, people just didn't do that anymore. Like, and I know that sounds stupid, but I just really thought that people had elevated to a place where they just didn't do that anymore. Like, that's why when you told me yesterday, I was so shocked. Like, people still doing that? Like,
Apparently so.
At first, and this is how you can tell how long it's been since I've heard of it. Because at first, I was like, what is a rock rental? And then when you explained it, I was like, oh, duh, a rock rental. Like, then I was like, people still do
that? Apparently, man. Apparently. So, we had about 2 hours and about 24 minutes. So, we cool. We right on time. We right under our 2.5 hour mark. I actually thought we was going to go over. But we cool. So, thank you guys for listening to the 4th episode of the Socially Conscious St. Louis podcast. I appreciate your listens and your views. Please comment, like, subscribe, share this shit, because I think that this is some hot fire, if I do say so myself. I'm King David. You can reach me on Instagram at DOverweightLover. That's the letter D, OVRWEIGHT. You can reach me on Facebook, King David Landrum. Might have a special guest host coming up pretty soon. I can't wait about that. I'm not going to name drop because it's not official yet, but I feel if I get this guest, then I will have one up on the 5150 show. Not saying that I'm in competition with Corey because we got two totally different things going on, but this is a guest that he is not yet to have on his show. So if I can get this guest on my show before he does, I feel like I've accomplished something because dude is crazy.
Yeah.
Well, we ain't gonna name drop yet because we haven't confirmed. So just be on the lookout, man. We probably gonna have some music and maybe some sponsorships coming up soon. Talk to some folk. So we'll see how that goes, man. And that's all I gotta promote. Oh, you can go on Facebook and Instagram, More Lawns St. Louis. That's More Lawns St. Louis. That is my business page. You can see my work. You can catch up to me like February, March. I will be back in business. I actually shut down the company to retool and get everything ready for the spring. So I'm going to take my truck down to the shop, get it fixed. Got that on the charger. So hopefully by this weekend I'll have that bread. Go ahead and pay them. Get the rest of this stuff going, man, so I can get back out here doing what I love to do, which is black business. Becky! Right back up.
Yes.
Right back across.
Yes.
Tell the people how they can reach you. That's hang a time. That's hang a time.
And you couldn't help it. You just couldn't help it.
Welcome to the China Club. That's hang a time. That's hang a time.
You stupid. You just couldn't help it.
Man, you know I love Dave Chappelle, dog. That is the funniest dude to ever do it. Like, I swear to God. Dave Chappelle broke the mold, and he's still the shit, and he don't need to be all up in Hollywood's faces. The nigga lives in Ohio like a regular person. That's what I love about Dave. Mm-hmm. He walked away from it all, and he's not seeking no attention. He lives in Ohio. If I was rich and famous, I would do the same thing, nigga. I would live in the hood in St. Louis. And then I ain't really got to worry about no paparazzi because I know ain't no paparazzi coming out here to the Midwest. So, they be like, oh, that's, yeah, where you stay, Ferguson? Oh, we ain't coming out there. That's too dangerous.
Oh, no. Mm-mm.
I'm just going to start mentioning Ferguson from now on. Ferguson.
Right.
Start scaring white people. Bitch, I'm from Ferguson. Oh, honey, he's from Ferguson.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Give him all your money. You just trying to get direction.
That's what you should have told that white bitch. Nigger, put these groceries in my car. Bitch, I'm from Ferguson. He'll be like, oh, shit. Let's go back to Texas. This bitch from Ferguson.
Man,
So how can the people reach you, Rebecca Quarles?
you can reach me on Facebook at Arthur R. Quarles. You can also reach me at any question, comments, or concerns in reference to my Runaway from God series at www.creativewritersllc.com. You can also reach me at Instify, aka Instagram, at LadyQ1502, as well as RAFG, the series, and book 4 is underway.
Yes, y'all. So y'all go on the Amazons. Go on the Amazons and get the 1, 2, and 3. It's gonna be about $30, give or take, worth the read.
Also can be reached out in the streets with the Mocha Diva book club. We do a lot of volunteer activism and things like that. Shout out to them and the Brown Paper Bag movement that's coming up January the 6th. And that is it, bro.
Man, oh man, oh man. I think we had a good one today.
Yeah.
I think we really had a good one today. We right at about 2.5 hours.
Half hour, yeah.
So if you have nothing else, and I don't have nothing else, I just want to leave you motherfuckers.
Oh, help us. Help us.
To all of my 5150 alumni. This candy, nigga. Ooh, sweet Jesus. Wait till I kill this motherfucker.
Yes, I
will holler at you motherfuckers next week. Oh, sweet Jesus. Let me kill you. Had put in charge of other black people.
Mm-hmm.
We know.
Mm-hmm.
Nigga, you can't straddle the fence when it's convenient for you. You wanna be all up on TV One with your little raggedy co-hosts, and one day you want to be rah black empowerment, and we black people gonna do this, and we come, and then the next day you got Umar on, and you got a panel of coons, and you ambushing this man about some bullshit that don't even matter. I'm here to clear the record straight right now about Umar Johnson. Now, I am in no way, shape, or form caping for Umar Johnson, but there has been a lot of smoke, but over these last couple of years, I have seen no fire. I have heard allegations, but I have not seen any receipts about what he hasn't done or has done. Now, first of all, it ain't your goddamn business to focus on what the fuck Umar's doing, nigga. I haven't given to the man school.
Yeah.
He's gonna open it? I don't know. I don't know if he's gonna open the school.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got his mission to. He's got his own thing that he's doing. I find in my community. See, that's your goddamn problem, black people. You always want to be up in everybody else's motherfucking business about what they doing, what they should be doing it, how they should be doing it, and you ain't doing shit your goddamn self. Fuck you. Fuck you, motherfucker. Fuck you, nigga. I'm like Michael Rappaport, nigga. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck all you fuck-ass black people. I'm talking to all you motherfuckers. You ain't cooning, but you ain't doing nothing to help the situation either. You always want to down Umar, or you always want to talk about somebody. Oh, well, they should have did this, and Tyree, he should have put Hidden Colors out for free. You need to put this information.
Why should it be for free?
No. It
should be for free. That's too much work, time, and energy.
Because
That's too
first
much
of
work,
all,
time, and energy. I wouldn't do that for free.
because first of all, you wasting the money of all of the hardworking men and women
Yep.
who gave to that man so he can make these movies. And second of all,
Yep.
he has invested way more of his own money than he's ever gotten on a GoFundMe. The
Yep.
GoFundMes are usually just to get the ball rolling, but eventually that GoFundMe runs out real quick and he's investing his own money into his project. Why are you so worried about what the fuck everybody else is doing? Get you some business. Ain't that what the elders used to tell you? Get out of grown folk business. Go find you some business. That's why you couldn't sit around the table at Thanksgiving with the grown folks, nigga. Get in that other room with the motherfucking kids, nigga. You a kid, you belong at the kids' table. I don't know if it was like that with your family, but in my family, Thanksgiving, kids could not sit at the adult table. Go in the other room, watch cartoons, eat your food. Get you some business. That sounds like, I think that's an old blues song. Get you some business, nigga. You know why I'm not so worried about what the fuck Umar doing, my nigga? It's I'm doing my own thing right here in my own community. I don't know what Umar is doing. I don't know how much money he's received or how much money he's lost, but I damn sure ain't tripping about no conscious stripper.
And this is the thing.